When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him, I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living fuck out of Jake.
Andrew Tate recently tore into Jake Paul with unrelenting criticism, likening him to a bulldozer wrecking boxing's legacy. On live TV, Tate accused Jake of disrespecting a sport cherished by billions, dragging its reputation through the mud with his antics. But Jake didn't stop there. He pulled boxing legend Mike Tyson into his circus act of a fight. What should have been an event honoring Tyson's legacy became, in Tate's words, an embarrassment to combat sports. Tate held nothing back, calling Jake's actions a slap in the face to Tyson's storied career and condemning his shamelessness. He lambasted Jake for prioritizing Instagram clicks over respect for the sport and its legends. Jake, the self-proclaimed boxing savior, with a record many deem questionable, stood unrepentant. Tate's takedown was scathing and, in the eyes of many, long overdue, shining a harsh spotlight on Jake's impact on the sport. Jake Paul, with his 6 wins, 1 loss, and a fan base more excited about his TikToks than his punches, struts around like he's revolutionized boxing. Enter Andrew Tate, 76 professional kickboxing wins, 23 knockouts, and 0 tolerance for Jake's YouTube boxing circus. According to Tate, if this were real boxing, Jake wouldn't make it past tryouts. Jake's latest spectacle: dragging 58-year-old Mike Tyson out of retirement for a so-called fight. Tyson, a living legend and boxing Hall of Famer, has more than earned his retirement, but Jake saw a chance to slap his name on a pay-per-view event and call it a fight. Tate didn't mince words, calling it a joke, a bad one. This isn't boxing, it's a content creator's ego trip, and Tate is here to call it out.
However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well. 3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box. The guy's not a jack.
Having fought elite athletes for over a decade, Tate criticized Jake for padding his record with opponents who don't belong in the ring or are long past their prime. Jake Paul's boxing record reads like a highlight reel of mismatches, a retired basketball player, a lineup of former MMA fighters with boxing skills as sharp as a butter knife, and the infamous Mike Tyson fiasco. If Jake spent half as much time training as he does handpicking opponents, he might earn some respect. When Andrew Tate called Jake a clown, it wasn't just trash talk, it was a fact. Jake's the guy who shows up to a costume party in a suit and calls himself James Bond. He's playing dress up, and everyone can see it. Tate's challenge was clear: stop hiding behind gimmicks, step into the ring with a real fighter, and prove you've got more than Instagram captions. While Tate has spent years mastering his craft against real competition, Jake's been busy flexing on TikTok. If these two ever fight, Tate won't just win, he'll dismantle Jake in front of his own fan base. It'll be brutal. Reality check: Jake Paul's idea of fighting Mike Tyson deserves a special level of roasting. Pitting himself against Tyson, a 58-year-old boxing legend, is like challenging a retired Olympian to a sprint and calling it a fair race. It's disrespectful, desperate, and exactly what we've come to expect from Jake Paul. Andrew Tate didn't hold back, and neither should we. Fighting someone 31 years older isn't competition, it's a joke. Worse, it borders on exploitation. On paper, Jake and Tate might seem evenly matched, both over 6 feet tall and around 190 to 200 pounds. But experience and skill don't show up on paper, and that's where Jake gets left in the dust. Tate has over a decade of fighting elite opponents under his belt. Jake? 4 years of boxing, most of it spent hyping his next fight to trend on Twitter. He's a walking brand deal, not a real boxer. Tate has always made it clear, Mike Tyson is more than a fighter, he's a legend, and dragging his name into Jake's circus act is shameful. If Jake wants a real fight, Andrew Tate is ready. In the boxing world, Mike Tyson isn't just a name, he's a living legend, an icon who shaped the sport. Andrew Tate respects Tyson the way fighters should, with honor, not opportunism. For Tate, this isn't about PR stunts or hashtag moments. He openly calls Tyson one of the greatest and would never drag him into a sham fight just to boost his own social media numbers. Tate values legacy. Jake Paul? He values clicks. It's that simple. Jake saw fighting a 58-year-old Tyson as a great career move, although fighting is generous. Exploiting is more accurate. Jake didn't view Tyson as a retired legend who's earned his rest but as a shortcut to stay in the headlines. Worse, Jake genuinely believed this stunt would make him look like a legitimate boxer.
He is not just a YouTuber. He is a young man training with Canelo and Ryan Garcia.
When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him, I understand.
It didn't. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, sees Tyson as someone whose legacy deserves preservation, not parading around for cheap cash grabs. Tate didn't hold back, calling Jake's actions a desperate attempt to cling to relevance. Even Tyson, far too classy to openly roast Jake, has hinted at the enormous difference between a true fighter like Tate and a spectacle like Jake. Mike Tyson respects figures like Andrew Tate because, like him, they've truly earned their influence. They've put in the work, taken the hits, and emerged as real fighters. Jake Paul, his antics probably make Tyson roll his eyes so hard they are doing laps. The difference is glaring. Tate operates with dignity, while Jake operates like a walking billboard for his next viral moment. Respect is everything in combat sports, it's what separates the legends from the frauds. Tate's respect for Tyson isn't just empty words. It's the kind of honor that comes from understanding the grind, the sacrifices, and the legacy of a true fighter. Jake Paul, on the other hand, wouldn't know respect if it smacked him in the face with a boxing glove. His career is built on cherry-picking opponents who either aren't boxers or are far past their prime. It's not just embarrassing, it's insulting to the sport and the athletes who give it their all. The public's reaction to Jake's Tyson stunt was harsh, and rightly so. Fans and analysts saw it for what it was, not a bold move but a blatant cash grab. Fighting Tyson at 58 wasn't courageous, it was disrespectful to both Tyson's legacy and the integrity of boxing. The audacity of Jake Paul thinking this would earn him respect in the boxing world is laughable. The combat sports community has had enough of his smoke and mirrors routine and is practically begging Andrew Tate to step in and give Jake the reality check he's been dodging. And let's not pretend Jake doesn't know exactly what he's doing. He's been avoiding real fighters for years, carefully curating opponents to build a fake legacy. But Andrew Tate isn't some retired MMA fighter looking for a payday. He's a former kickboxing world champion with 76 wins and the kind of experience Jake can only dream of. If these two ever step into the ring, it won't be a fight, it'll be a dismantling. Tate will cut through Jake like a buzzsaw through cardboard, and everyone knows it, including Jake. The media has been buzzing with speculation, and social media is lit with memes, debates, and predictions. For Tate, it's a chance to remind the world what a real fighter looks like. For Jake, it's a chance to prove he's more than a glorified YouTuber. But let's be honest, he's not.